Good morning from SFG Top Performance. Thank you all for turning in today. We have our regulars with us. We have Derek, Charles, and Jason. Today's topic is going to be discussing nitrogen, stabilizers, and equipment to use with them. Jason, would you like to start us off, please?
Sure. There's a lot of different ways we can split nitrogen, and anytime we apply nitrogen, we're getting a benefit. We're putting on more than one form, more than one source, and we're timing it to where it needs to be on the crop and when it needs to be there. I guess there's a few different. My favorite one, or there's several of them I really like, but a lot of them include anhydrous as a start to it. If we use some anhydrous and follow it with UAN in a chemical application, that works as a great pop-up starter with the UAN in there. It gives us a split applied nitrogen source. Another one is anhydrous followed by broadcast urea or AMS. If we use broadcast AMS, we have some sulfur that we're also applying in the post application with AMS, and you can also use some urea if we need some more nitrogen. There's also, and one that's working very well is a half rate of supergrow, followed with 100 pounds of anhydrous, and that one is doing very well. Those are the three anhydrous forms, and then there's several others that can be used. We use a part rate of UAN followed by a broadcast urea or AMS. That works very well. And all of these, we can use a nitrogen stabilizer in them all. Derek, can you talk a little bit about the stabilizers that are available now and all the options we have to use with these?
Yeah, sure can. So what I'll do is I'll just talk about those three forms of nitrogen we use and kind of how the stabilizers are different. When we get to anhydrous, everybody's been really well versed in NSERV over the years, and NSERV kind of started as probably one of the first stabilizers. Everybody knows it. Works really well, and what it does, it actually attacks the bacteria that converts ammonium to nitrate. So if we know that nitrate, we don't want that because it's what moves through the soil profile, it's what leaches, it's what we lose. The crop needs it, but we want to keep the nitrogen in the ammonium form as long as we can, and we use that by using the stabilizers to keep it there. What it does is it stops the bacteria from converting it, like I said. When we get to urea, generally most stabilizers are called urease inhibitors, and what urease does is it converts urea to ammonium, then that ammonium converts to nitrate, and the nitrate we lose with the water. So it's a multi-step process, but generally all urea stabilizers are built around being a urease inhibitor, and then that doesn't allow volatilization as well. So when we convert the urea to ammonium, then your chance of volatilization are greater. So we want to keep those stabilizers on the urea, and usually we kind of say general rule of thumb, put a stabilizer on it, you get 2 weeks before you need to catch a rain. I mean, they don't last all season long, as we know, but usually it's not too hard to catch a rain in 2 weeks, and with the springs we've had. So that's kind of general rule of thumb we use with urea. As far as UAN goes, most of the stabilizers we use there are called polymer stabilizers. Big one that we've used a lot is Nutrisphere. And what that does is it actually coats the nitrogen molecule in the UAN, and it doesn't allow your bacteria, it doesn't allow other microorganisms in the soil profile to break down that nitrogen into forms that we can leach. So that's kind of how they explain it. It's a big long chain, and then microorganisms grab onto that chain instead of grabbing onto the nitrogen fertilizer in order to keep that nitrogen form in the soil long enough for the plant to take it up when it needs it, about at V5 or knee-high corn. Jason.
Okay. Derek, now with that, do we have options on application with that? Jason, do we have one that works better for us? Charles, can you give us an idea of how you like to put these together in the field as far as equipment-wise? I asked three different kind of questions there. Jason, maybe you want to talk a bit more about our options we have, which one that we've been testing works best for us today that you think that you're comfortable with. And then we'll go to Charles as far as equipment as to how we can handle those.
All right, the ones that I like best, I'll start with an anhydrous base, mainly because it's economical and it stays very well and it doesn't bind as tight as some of them with our soils. And it works, it doesn't matter if the anhydrous is followed by UAN with some chemicals in application, and that the UAN provides a great pop-up. It helps, the corn burst real fast and gives some extra nitrogen then. And then anhydrous followed by broadcast urea or AMS, get some sulfur out there in post application. And then the one that I like well, and I know we have a limited supply, but it works very well, is a super grow. Anhydrous followed by a half rate of super grow. So those are my three favorite. But it doesn't matter what you do to split apply nitrogen, you're giving yourself a benefit when you split apply any two forms. And Charles, I know I mentioned a couple there that we have some equipment for. What about, the equipment we purchased and getting them applied?
Yep. It's just like you're saying there with the anhydrous, we can treat the anhydrous as it goes out the door. One thing, N-Serve goes in the tank, so it usually goes out. Every farmer can use N-Serve. We come back to our UAN, we can treat the UAN in our plant before it goes out. So you're stabilizing the nitrogen before it leaves, if you want to say. Same thing with urea. Urea is already treated, so it's already treated as it goes out the door. It isn't something that has to be done out in the field or as it's going on the field. It's already treated, so it's it's done accurately, and it's just a matter of how you apply it, because you've got two other options. You're going to apply the liquid UAN in the ground as an aside rest, or the urea is going to go on over the top. It's just going to be broadcast out there on top. So we do have all those capabilities, yes.
Okay, good. Good.
And when we, sorry, didn't mean to
No,
interrupt.
go ahead.
Just wanted to touch on the field forecasting tool with these stabilizers as well. We have the capability we have a rogator now. We'll be able to do a lot more in-season nitrogen. And so these stabilizers, the field forecasting tool takes those into consideration, to where if we put 100 pounds of nitrogen up front and it's stabilized, that nitrogen is going to be there longer, and our field forecasting tool knows that and can tell us how much nitrogen we're going to actually need. And it really can make the system a lot more efficient. We can put the nitrogen on when we need to and the right amounts, instead of just, putting 200 pounds out there and hoping for the best. We have these tools, and the field forecasting tool knows which stabilizer we're using, how it's being used, and it can really model that nitrogen, so we put it on at the best rate we can. And it really just, I know it's more intensive, but it really almost always works. We had one test with the stabilizers last year on an infield trial. We are doing some more this year, but in replicated strips against an untreated strip, we were showing 3 to 13 bushels increase between different products. And so even at 3 bushel, that's paying for most stabilizers, and that's making a little bit of money on most of them. Most of them run, in the $10 to $13 range, around there. So 3 bushels is all we need to pay for it, and we were showing that data really easily.
That's great. You guys are providing a lot of information here, and you're providing value. Value is something that Smith Fertilizer and Grain is trying very hard to improve on. And innovation, we're sustaining our innovation, because with the improvement of a product or a service, as our tests are showing, based on the known needs of our SFG customers, we're doing side dressing, we're doing tests within the field for specific reasons. It's not just for the fun of being in the field, but it's to learn more, to do a better job for ourselves, and to improve our bottom line to our customers. I want to thank each of you for talking about nitrogen, stabilizers, split up line, and equipment used for it. I want to thank the customers for showing up today and listening to us. As we go forward, don't be afraid to contact any of your agronomy sales personnel to get more details on information of a side-by-side plot that you may want to put in your own field on split applied nitrogen. With that, thank you so much for watching today, and thank you for doing business with Smith Fertilizer and Grain.